I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. No need to push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here, and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use it, that meditation, at their workplace, in their family. And also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into like what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation.
Think of a significant person in
and
your
at the
life.
heart of our teaching,
If they are significant, they will affect you in some way.
happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings connected to the one source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international, non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti. Vibrations of love. And some say love is a verb. But much deeper than that, love is a vibration. It is that energy that stirs the soul and opens up the heart. Vibrations of love call out to the divine that connects us with the beauty of life and the oneness of it all. I need not to say it with words, although it is always nice to hear, but greater still is to feel it. Vibrations of love lift me higher, and I fill the empty spaces within the soul. It is the divine in its purest essence. It is me at the height of my being. I am vibrations of love. Hello everyone, Om Shanti, welcome to your next normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, and I love that meditation. And if those of you have not heard that new track that we have released on the 20th of September, can I make a confession or tell you something straight up? You are so missing it. I just love it. Didn't you love that meditation?
Yes.
In the studio today is our lovely friend, beloved service companion, the amazing Reverend Sylvia Sumter of Unity of Washington, D.C. Today we actually spent a little bit of the morning part on the Mall of the Lincoln Steps, and we were in support of Unity Earth's a basic culmination event in Washington, D.C., which is actually happening live right now on Facebook, on the unity.earth Facebook page. And it was really a nice day today, wasn't it?
It was just beautiful, very inspiring, just to be outside and then to be in that setting, you know, watching the flags behind the Lincoln Memorial, facing the Washington Monument.
Yeah.
Yeah, very special.
And today's conversation is actually about preserving energy. So we actually had an opportunity where we were in an environment. The weather was beautiful, people were beautiful, energy was beautiful, and we didn't feel that we were losing energy, but we did definitely feel that we preserved our energy. So as we move into our chit-chat of today, I actually just wanted to kind of catch up with you to find out how you've been doing and what's been some of your latest realizations. One in particular, I know that you've been supporting Unity.Earth now for a while, and this year, you and Dr. Kanu Kogod, along with about 90 other different leaders around the world, trekked to the Holy Land and to Jordan as well.
Yes.
Could you share a little bit about Unity Earth, what it is, what the experience was going to the Holy Land, especially right before the pandemic, you know, basically, you know, closed down the whole world. Update us a little bit.
Well, I'll just begin by saying it was a gathering of about 90 people, but just not ordinary people, people who have committed their lives to be in service to humanity. Some were spiritual leaders, others were working in environments that would uplift others. So it was a very powerful gathering. And the purpose, it was called Holy Land, Living Waters, and which, you know, it brought to our remembrance the sacredness of water, the scarcity of water, and we just went to bless that land that houses the cradle of so many basic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, even the Baha'i faith we went to see. But it was one of the most moving experiences for me because it enabled me to have my own personal commitment to transforming my own life. Because everything that I do to transform my life, I'm in service to the greater good. You know, I'm bringing something higher and best into the arena. So it was just a fabulous experience, and to be able to honor different walks of life, we could see that, you know, we're all seeking the same, whether I'm a Sikh, a Muslim, you know, a Native American, a Brahma Kumari. It's that all souls are seeking the same thing.
Why do you think there's so much difference, though, in people's interpretation of that truth? Because I think my thought is like, why is it that there seems to be such a difference with people in terms of they don't seem to connect deeply at that level? There's always a little bit of that attachment that my tradition or my belief is superior to yours. You want to speak to that? Why have we gotten into that place where it seems as if the ownership of my path or my religion makes me feel some sense of importance over you? Why does that seem to be so important, especially now when you look at what's going on in America?
Well, I would first want to say that I think it's changing. I think with globalization happening at the rate that it is, with all modern technology, we now have a window into other cultures, a window into how other people think, live, believe, their faith, which does nothing more than broaden our own. In the past, there was a lot of tribalism because we were all self-contained. So yes, my world was important and my way of life and my beliefs were central to how I lived and thought. But as we begin to recognize, wow, there's a big world out here, and now it's not so big, it's really a small world. And I think that's the blessing of technology. Technology has some good points and some not so good points, but one of the finer points is it brings us together in ways that we've never been before. So just going over to the Holy Lands was wonderful because I could watch the Arabs, the Palestinians, and the Israelis, even though they're in close proximity to each other, watching them sort of struggle. And then at the same time, watching the younger generation who have been exposed. And so I think that they give me hope because they're willing, a young Palestinian was willing to, you know, party with a young Israeli, whereas the older generation is used to staying in their communities, in their tribes, in their culture. And younger people now have the benefit of just the world is wide open.
Right.
And so I think that gives me hope that people will come to see that, wow, it's just the exterior.
And one of the interesting things is that the younger generation seem to be so much more evolved in terms of having a very inclusive concept, and there are some older paradigms or older generations that are struggling with letting go of what they're accustomed to. And I've also felt that social media has played such a huge role in spreading propaganda and creating a kind of an information onto the consciousness of people in which they actually feel that this is really a reality, and they stop thinking, but I have the power to discern and decide what I want to think and feel about another race, another religion, another gender, another orientation. And I'm just wondering at some point, when will we be able to, you know, use social media more for a positive force? Because there are people with a lot of money that can push messages that hurt and keep people divided. Any answers for that? Like, how do we bring them together?
Yeah, I think you just said it earlier. It's the young people. I have great hope in them. You know, the statement that says, well, this is not your mother's, you know, life or whatever. These young people are different. And I think it's because they are born into a different energy and consciousness. Again, the world is...
They see the whole world on the palm of their hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that helps them to think a little bit, even though there's a great effort, as you said, with propaganda to say, this is the only way, this is the only way. But I think it's more, as long as they are willing to be open and to be receptive to there are other ways, then I have faith that the young people will hopefully get it a little bit right, or at least better than with each generation. I have hope that they'll recognize,
there's another way.
There's another way.
There's another way.
Yeah.
So in terms of preserving energy, for me, I have often felt my preservation of energy has to do with keeping my thoughts good.
Yeah.
Like, I really try to focus myself on creative ideas, humor, feeling good about life and people and thinking good about people. Mm-hmm. And I felt my weakest when I found myself in an emotional downward spiral experience. I remembered how I felt a few years ago after the results of the election. Not that I don't like anyone or anyone, that's not what I'm saying. It was just so much negativity was spewed, and we were on the receiving end of that. And even if you didn't want to receive it, you would wake up the next morning and you would hear somebody telling you something that felt really hurtful, about somebody calling people names, or just the energy between people at the time. And it has continued for quite a number of years now. So I felt that when I made the mistake of receiving that, it tapped into a part of me that was very peaceful and very in charge. And it was like a mixture. It was like a little tsunami. It was like an upsurf. Everything was just mixing around. And I would get into this emotional place. And you've been such a support for me on so many occasions. And I just felt so tired of feeling the hate and the anger and the fear and the uncertainty of even just my own life, of maybe, this was not now, but a few years ago, what was going on with the museums, because, we had not lost, but 60% of our donors had relocated, and so it was quite a strenuous time in us keeping the museums going at that time, and I had voiced that to you, and thank God everything is, balanced out again. But that emotional experience has been my feeling, my experience of my energy losing it. I don't lose it if I'm doing 100 things at once and my heart's all in the right place. I don't lose it if I'm watching, someone or something rise or doing well and giving advice or even correcting, but I lose it when my emotions get in the way. What's your what's your understanding in how you think energy is being lost, but also how do you preserve the energy that you have, but also increase it?
Great question. And first of all, I want to say that I think you're one of the most creative people that I know.
I accept that.
Yes, your mind is always going, and you come up with wonderful ideas and approaches, and I think that keeps you fresh,
inspired,
and on point. So that's a really great thing, because creativity everything is energy, first of all, and so there's a different quality of energy. And as you were speaking, when we are in a place and we are experiencing emotional energy of, let's say, either upset or anger or hurt, I've been told that there's a certain the intensity is stronger than when we are in a place of peace, of love. That energy is placid and calm and tranquil. And there's a part of us that gets used to the rush. If you notice, when you get upset, I'll speak for myself. I know that when I get really upset, there's literally a physical rush of energy that it just takes over my body, and then I'm in it. Except if I have the foresight, I can catch it and maybe tame it down a little bit. So this is why people are addicted to negative news. There's an addictive quality to negative energy, because it's very
It
potent.
reminds you of yourself,
And
right?
yes, and it brings you there and you get locked in it. So, and the more this rush, the more negative, the greater you'll stay in that capacity. And so that's draining because it's a rush of energy. It's an expending of energy. Whereas when we're in a high vibration, a love vibration, a vibration of peace, the energy is balanced and it moves, it flows like water, you know, it just flows like water throughout the being and we're fine. So it will drain you. It's toxic and it's draining. And what I'm trying to practice is to be able to see when, because it also takes you over and sometimes you can be unconscious. You're just in it.
Oh yeah, I love that unconscious moment though.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and I try to catch, because once I'm in it, I'm off.
You're gone.
I'm gone. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. That's not the way I want to be. Then I have to pull myself back. But I'm learning now, I want to be able to catch that moment where I have a choice. Do I want to move in this direction, or can I just say, you know what, no, let me let that go? Because I know, and thoughts, the power of thoughts, they're repetitive, and if you get into a loop, this is the other part that can be draining, thinking the same thought over and over again. And it's like almost on automatic. The mind goes, to be conscious takes energy. To be focused and conscious and aware and present means I must be here with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy to be unconscious, unfocused, but that's when, we are actually expending more energy and we're draining ourselves.
Say that again. When we are unfocused. Santosh, you listening? When we are unfocused. It's the drainage of energy, yeah?
Yeah.
And what makes us unfocused?
Well, I think it could be habit too. The mind is such an interesting instrument, place, experience. And we are not, and it's like, I had a teacher who used to say that thoughts are things and they can be like unruly children. And if you don't discipline them, like if you have an unruly child.
Or an unruly mother.
Well, yes. And they're used to, they just go. And that actually you gain more power and more presence when you can discipline the thoughts to say, no or yes, be present. And when we allow the mind to just go off on its own, it just runs rampant. And your thoughts go here and there and thither, and all of that is energy expended. Whereas a focused energy, it's like, I don't know if when you were a kid, did you ever have a magnifying glass? And you had a little piece of paper and you took the sun, and it was that focused energy.
Do kids even play with those things anymore?
I don't know. I don't think they play outside much.
When we were on the mall, they were all in their smartphones.
Yes, they stay on their phones.
Yeah.
But it's that energy, the focus, that carries the power and the energy. So and it's like conditioning. If you have allowed your mind to be unconditioned, it just does what it wants.
Oh yes. I've seen that in people.
So when we condition it, it may take a little energy. This is what meditation does. This is what, a Zen focus does. It's like, let the mind know that there's a better way. I'm in charge, and let me see if I can not control my thoughts, but direct them in the way that I would like to have them. I don't really want to, if a thought arises, it's like, wow, I want to be able to be aware. Half the time, we are not even aware of the thoughts that we are thinking. We think we are, but they're running around. And when you give attention to, that's what mindfulness meditation is, you give attention to the thought that you're thinking. And you might even be alarmed to say, oh my gosh, this is what's running around in my head.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that, because everybody who watches The Next Normal, everyone's interested in making themselves better.
Yes.
And what steps would you offer us to keep that focus on that one thought that will be beneficial in developing our empowerment? What would be a one thought that someone could focus on, and how can they hold that one thought and feel it without it being forced and becoming uncomfortable? I do know some people who force themselves to meditate, and actually that's called hatha.
Yeah.
Hatha yoga meditation.
Hatha yoga, yeah.
But for you to really just sit and sort of have a relationship with yourself, and there's an acceptance of who you have become, but there's also a curiosity and a sense of openness that there's someone else also being birthed as I focus on these thoughts that I'm having, and some I like and some I would prefer that this might not be useful for my future. What steps can you offer us to do more of that focused thought and serve that sort of a laser focused thought to make us stronger tonight?
Well, for me, it's having a mantra, a thought that helps to direct my thought, so that when I notice that I am off-centered, I am not in alignment with my own personal desire and expression, to have a mantra that I can return to. And oddly enough, I've been writing about an affirmation from the Brahma Kumaris that I absolutely love, and it's basically, I am a peaceful soul. And something about that rings so true for me that when I notice that I am out of alignment with peace, because I want to make a concerted effort use it as a mantra, that mantra has an opportunity to slip into my awareness, and I can say, you know what? I am a peaceful soul. That's where I want to be. And that's what I'm using now currently, but it might be something else. Maybe someone might say, I am a divine channel for love. Maybe they're not feeling connected to people, or they're not feeling very loving toward themselves or anybody else, or maybe they're not feeling, they're feeling a sense of lack of forgiveness. Whatever it is, then find something that it is. If you have lack of forgiveness, maybe you want to focus on love. So you might even say, I'm a loving soul. But it should it should somehow ring in your own soul and speak to you, so that when you're out of it, the awareness of it, and you're not conscious of it, it'll signal back to you.
Yeah.
So it needs to be something that really triggers you. And so for me, I am working right now on two things: peace and love.
Yeah.
I'm working on keeping my heart open. And that's very important to me, because I know that the heart being open allows the energy to flow smoothly.
Yes.
When my heart is closed, I get upset, angry, judgmental. I become harsh with myself, and I can say, oh, you know what? My heart is closed. And so when I notice that behavior, then that serves as a trigger. That's not what I want. And I can either say I'm a loving soul, or I'm radiating the divine love of God.
And you just want to smack somebody at that time too?
I do sometimes, but I'm a peaceful soul.
But you...
No, I don't necessarily want to. I find it's very rare. That does happen. It's rare that my upset and my anger is with another person. No. I have it, but it's at me, towards my imperfection. When I see that I've either said something or done something, or that gosh, why did you do that? Why did you say that? Why did you respond that way? Why didn't you respond? So I'm tougher on myself.
But I always say that awakened spiritual people, the difference between awakened individuals and souls that are still sleeping, everyone, is that the awakened ones know what their weaknesses are, but they also know their strengths. And that's what distinguishes, to me, the only difference between us, And so it doesn't say I'm better than you or I'm perfect, but it says, hey, I'm aware of my stuff, so just give me some space. Let me sort it out.
Let me work it out.
So in terms of that, which I think is very powerful, there's something else that you said that Reverend Sylvia had shared. And by the way, if you're just joining in, welcome to The Next Normal. I'm having a wonderful chit chat with my beloved sister from Unity of Washington, D.C., Reverend Sylvia Sumter. And we're talking about the preserving of energy, which is something we all will need in our next normal.
Yes.
Because there's going to be so much negative energies out there that if we go into it, we can find ourselves so removed from being in our powerful state and just being in a vortex of drained energy and drained capacity. So Reverend Sumter had said something about the heart, when the heart gets blocked, and you get angry or you can't forgive, and you can feel all of that vibration. And what I wanted to ask you is something I think many of us have in our minds, where what was it that blocked our hearts in the first place? Like, what happened to us that, and I look at the blocked heart as my feelings changed for you. I can't love you like I'm looking at a 1-month-old baby anymore. I love you like I'm looking at that teenager wondering what you up to, which is a completely different vision. Just imagine for a moment that in marriages, for example, in the workplace, with friends, with family members, there is a time that in our hello, we just looked at each other as if we were looking at a 1-year-old. And we will spend a year together or 5 years or 10 years, and all of a sudden, we can't see each other anymore the way we did. And something blocks that heart. And a lot of people have not really investigated, when did that start? When I stopped coming from that place of my love and innocence and started to believe you are the reason why I can't love anymore. Like, what happened to civilization, to human beings, where we just started to block our hearts and the feelings changed? Do you have any ideas when that started?
I do. I don't know when that started. I don't know when. I haven't been around, but I can say...
You haven't been around that long?
I haven't been around that long. But, I think human beings are very self-centered. And so we relate to the world in relationship to, what does this mean for me? And so when we become self-focused, we either get wounded or we're too vulnerable. But if we can sort of flip that around, this is what I think is happening now on the planet. We're going from the me to now this wonderful we, because we recognize we can't really do this without each other. And so this is taking us to another level of connection. And when I can serve you and take the attention off of myself, because I get hurt because I think you're doing something to me, right? It's like, why did they do that to me? I did a talk once at church, and I called it "To Me." And those two words, if you could eliminate "to me," it'd be, so instead of saying, why did she do that to me? It could be, why did she do that? You see? And if it's not about me, then I'm open and present enough to, well, why did she do that? Now, if I say, why did she do that to me? I'm all up in my stuff. She did this to me. She hurt me. But if I can just say, why did she do that, and stop it there, it leaves the energy with that soul, that person. And then I can focus enough, well, maybe they were hurt, or maybe I can then think of them, because I've taken myself out of the parameter. It's not about me.
It's not about you in terms of people imposing their stuff on you, but it's all about you in terms of you sorting out why you are losing your peace because of other people's stuff.
That's right. If my reaction to it is all about me, their action is all about them.
Right.
You see? But if I take their action and make it about me, then there's a lesson for me to learn. There's a saying that says the issue is not the issue. So that issue is not the issue. The issue is, why am I reacting? Why is it affecting me? What's happening to me? So rather than, why is she doing that to me? If I have to have the me, the question should be, why am I having this reaction to that? So that I can look at, what's the lesson?
A lot of us do that. I think a lot of us on the path of our spiritual awakening tend to point the finger at the self first. Of course, we don't want to be in the way of somebody puking up their issue on you. And the best part is when they puke up their issue and say, you are the reason why I'm like this. Have you ever heard that one before? And you kind of stand there dumbfounded, wondering, did I really cause this to this person? Because we're still in a way sorting out a need to know who we really are. And I think a part of the preserving of energy is to have that curiosity, is to have this kind of a love affair, a deep intimacy with yourself.
With yourself,
where you're
too.
going, wow, tell me who is in you, who, who lives behind my eye, and seems to have such a unique way of seeing itself and seeing the other and seeing the world at large. And one of the things that I felt that we really are going closer to now, because 1,000 years ago, nobody was talking about meditation, even though they had prophets doing their prayer and stuff. But people weren't talking about, did you feel that vibration? Did you have this experience when you were, having this thought? People were just really basically trying to survive, living day by day.
Yes.
And here we are in a particular time where you can be watching a Unity Earth program of people who are all into some sort of a reflective way of living, and they're looking at transforming themselves.
Yes.
Who was that young group on the mall today? Those young boys.
Yes, I can't
from New York.
Think of the names. Yeah.
Something collective. These young men,
Yeah,
everyone,
they were good.
were incredible. I'll find out and get back to you on that one. But there is something in needing to know about ourselves that I feel will help you and me to preserve our energy more. It's when you're moving away scared of looking at yourself, like
Right,
I'm scared to see who is behind my eye, so let me let myself be distracted, and let me blame people, and let me hate my husband or my wife, or and that's where a lot of the drainage of energy is coming from.
I agree.
And I just wonder, when it comes to the role of God, how does God help you to not only preserve your energy, but to amplify your energy?
Well, first I want to say, can I comment on what you just said? Because I think that's great. So when I was talking about, that we're all self-centered, and not all, but there is an aspect.
Many of us.
But the other aspect that you just mentioned is so important. Also, the focus on me, to be willing to see oneself. So intimacy is into me see. And so when I can have intimacy with my own being and not run from the things, because there's a lesson and a blessing in every experience. And so when I'm trying to tune in, if I really want to transform myself and my life, and I really want to move to another level of expression and, harmony within I must look at myself and my interaction with myself and with life. So I love that so that's different than being, why did she do that to me? And then I'm hurt but the lesson would be, well, why am I hurt?
Yeah.
Am I feeling my self-worth? And part of that is really feeling. Most people on the planet have a challenge with self-worth. It's just so when I understand my worth, and this gets me to the question you just asked me, when I understand my worth as a child of the divine, as a child of God, there must be something in me that is worthy because I'm here. There has to be something in me that is of value and of goodness because God has created me in this moment, in this being, in this body, in this this personhood. And that should tell every living soul that you have value because you are an emanation, an expression of God. And loved by God. And if we begin to really feel our sense of worth because I am, I don't have to justify my I amness is enoughness.
Yeah.
Not that I am this or I am that. It's simply I am. And that I am is the name of God. That's what the Bible, my tradition says the Bible is that. I am. So it's like, wow, I am. I'm good enough. I'm here. It's okay. And then when that sense of tapping into the God energy, which is, the life force energy, then that propels us to grow. I want to grow because I want more of that expression, more of that I amness to be able to share my gifts, my talents, my expression. How is God showing up today through me and through this experience? And once I start tapping into that, that feeds my energy as opposed to, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. I did this. Why did I say that? And blah, blah, blah. As opposed to, it's okay. I can begin at this moment again.
I think that's an area that many of us are moving into, where we're becoming a little bit more accommodating with the fact that we've been on a journey and we're carrying various forms of grief, loss, trauma. Celebrations are there. You're going to have celebrations throughout your whole journey as a soul. But imagine this, that it's the same soul sitting in the body right now that perhaps have had experiences in previous lives of the loss of a child, the loss of a husband, the loss of a career, the loss of your dignity, the loss of your sense of self, or even if you've celebrated gaining everything, which to me just goes with the natural law of energy. So it's not like it hits anything too strong in me that it loses. I lose a sense of focus. It's like, that's what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be abundant. I'm supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be loving. I'm supposed to be pure. But it's that sense of that loss or grief. And I've been exploring that in meditations. Like, Jen, when I go in and I'm having that that intimacy with myself, I'm sensing that there's still so much of experiences that I have to laser focus my thoughts on and say, it's okay now.
Yes.
You don't have to own that anymore.
Right.
And I think why we take things so personally when people are less than godly, and we say, why did they do that to me, is because we're still carrying the stories of, why did that happen to me? Like it's a recording somewhere in the subconscious of the soul. And yoga and meditation and connection to God, to Baba, to Allah, Jehovah, Khuda, Bhagwan, actually makes me realize, but I am, as you said, God's. So I am okay. And that might be the next normal of the way to be able to not only preserve energy for the future that awaits us, but to also accumulate the energy that we actually have the opportunity of accumulating inside of the soul. And it's my wish, especially with our beautiful audience out there, who tends to really be the most incredible people. And of course, I want to maybe pause here to see if anyone has anything that they'd like to perhaps ask you, because I'm sure they're enjoying your thoughts and your vibrations, Reverend Sylvia. But right now I think that we're at such a pivotal point in our civilization where God's energy is actually tapping on the conscience of our beings in such a way that He's saying, I'm here. Can you hear me? Do you see me? Are you willing to wake up? Can you feel me? And maybe through voices like Reverend Sylvia, myself, or so many voices that are the messengers that are coming to say, are you up? Can you see what I'm trying to show you? Can you see not what your two eyes can only see, but are you able to allow your third eye to really see? So is anyone out there enjoying today's conversation? And does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask, or should we break away in a meditation? Let me see. So Lilo T, welcome. Oh, Lilo T, welcome to the community. It's the first time. Raleigh, is there a problem with the internet? I don't know. I think we're still on. Louise, glad to join you. Money, love the idea of checking in our heart, if it's opened or not, to continue the flow of love. Louise's question is, how can we heal, Reverend Sylvia, a traumatized and suffering soul who has sustained abuse in their younger years?
Wow, that's very powerful. And the first answer that comes to mind for me is that through patience and process, those two things, that soul needs time to grieve, to move through. And so you offer patience, you offer a process for them being able to move that energy, move the grief, but you don't move it without experiencing it. Because this is what I do know. Any vibration or experience that is not really experienced gets stored in the body, and it becomes a trigger because it hasn't been expressed. So if you have grief, if you have sorrow, if you have pain, feel it. Allow yourself to feel it. In our society, it's like, oh, a no. Like when someone cries, the first thing we want to do is we want to stop the tears. It's their tears. Let it come so that energy gets released and not stored up in the body, which is what trauma is all about. It's stored energy and negative, feelings.
Yeah.
And when you express it, it's released, it's gone, it's done. Now, how long it's going to take, that's fine. But at least we should feel that it's okay to feel pain,
Feel that.
sorrow, grief, because it isn't the feeling of it that you release it.
I made a mistake yesterday. I won't say a mistake, but I erred. I erred in judgment. And Sister Gita, as you know, was orphaned at 7. And as a result of being in a developing country, she had to endure things that you and I would not want to ever endure as a young girl in a developing country. And yesterday she happened to have been sitting around the table with myself and Antonia. And she just started to share a very graphic encounter that she had as a little girl. And I was trying to quiet her. And it was after that scene, in one way, I didn't want to hear that from me, one. But in two, I didn't want her to have to be reliving, because you speak about something, you're seeing it in your mind. And then the third emotion that I went through, everyone, was of all the things that she chooses to remember, she remembers that and not cooking Jamaican jerk. So the point is that
Patience and process.
Yeah, the point is the error that I made yesterday, everyone, was that, and it happened to me afterwards. And again, I think it's because of the closeness of our relationship that my judgment was swayed in terms of my response to her. I was like, no, it's okay, you don't need. And after the moment passed, I said, but I wanted her to be open to tell me everything. And then I felt like I should have just allowed her that space. And
we get uncomfortable with other people's pain.
Because I think it reminds us of our own. And we haven't addressed all of it as well.
Exactly.
We're doing what maybe they did. And we're like, okay, well, we don't have to go there.
Squash it. No, put it down.
But, yeah, everyone. But it taught me something yesterday. And when I sat in Baba's room, I just sent a lot of vibrations to her, like, I'm sorry, Baba, I should have just listened, heard her out, because it's not that she always talks about it, and I felt like when she wanted to, I should have given her that permission to do so. So I hope Sister Gita accepts my apology for that. There's a Reverend Sylvia from the Raleigh show. The experience out of the country, what did you bring back that you didn't know before when you went to the Holy Land? And great question, Raleigh.
That's a great question. What I didn't know was I knew it intellectually, but I didn't know the extent to which people will allow ideologies, and that is ideologies, to stand in the way of basic common human. So it's like,
isn't that amazing?
Holy Land, living waters. Whereas, and I'm not saying this, it's not a political statement of any kind, but where the fresh water lies is on the Israeli side, and so the Palestinians don't have access to water. And it's a very big deal. Water itself in that part of the country is a very big deal.
For survival.
But yes, survival. But for one group of people to be willing to deny or another group access to something that sustains life itself, I was just like, why would people do that? And so I recognized it's again, I'm more attached to my ideology. It's what's happening in this country. I'm more attached to my party as opposed to the people. I'd
Or the
rather
values or the needs
or
of
the
the
needs
people.
of the people. I'm going to put my party over people.
Why does that happen?
Well, it's, you know.
Why do we get stuck in
We get stuck in these limited things until that's where we lose our humanity.
But what's the reason for us getting stuck? I'm stuck because my husband cheated on me. I'm stuck because I found out my child is doing drugs. I'm stuck because the boss at the job, my supervisor has it in for me. Or I'm stuck because my mother-in-law despises me. Why, out of a million thoughts, because I'm looking for answers constantly, right? Why did I get stuck in one thought that has completely catapulted my life into nothingness? Why do we do that?
We do it all the time. I can't maybe say right now exactly why. I know that I'm just trying to recognize when I'm in it. I might not know the why of it. It's like you have 10 people. You do something wonderful. You're doing this beautiful show. 9 people say, Sister Jenna, fabulous, loved it. One person says to you, Sister Jenna, you could have done this, blah, 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 blah. Tell me, do you focus on the 9 people that got so fed, or do you focus on that one? And we have a tendency to focus on
I usually
the one.
delete that other one.
Yeah. No, but we'll focus on that one statement because it's imperfection. We think, oh my God, somebody criticized me. I'm imperfect. You know, at least that's what I would do. I then think, oh, I gave this wonderful sermon and this one person didn't get it, and I focus on them as opposed to the 10, 20, 30 people that say, oh, that was really great, I got something out of it.
I think
Human
because
nature.
I think that one person helps you to refine your capacity. I think that's why we focus on the one.
That's a good point.
In my 20s and 30s, oh my God, that one would just, it would destroy me. But now the one, or the 2, or the 5, or the 10, I go, how can I be better?
Right.
That's where I use them.
Yes, if you can do that, that is great.
I do. I really
great.
keep saying, like, they actually help me.
Yes, yes.
I'd be a better version. I get slack when I get too much praise. That don't mean you also start criticizing me now out there. Okay, hold up. All right. I hope that answered your question, Raleigh, and thank you for asking that. Emily Hine, welcome, my sweet sister. Hope you all are okay up there in California and you're keeping cool. Emily says, when we accidentally fall back to sleep, what are your best strategies to get quickly back to the I am consciousness, Reverend Sylvia?
That's a wonderful question, too, because here's the dilemma. When you're asleep, you don't know that you're asleep until something awakens you, right? And so usually with life, there's some trauma or drama or situation that sort of gives you we call it the old
wake-up
2x4, gives you a wake-up call, and you go, wait a minute. So, you know, each situation, as you said, is not necessarily a bad one, because it's like, oh, wow, I needed to know that. Because it's like you never know when the moment you fall asleep, you don't know that you've fallen asleep. You know, I just wake up and it's like, oh my God, I fell asleep. You don't know. So life has a way of jarring us awake. There are times, however, when we have, I know I'm not asleep, but I know I'm not present. You know, or
Is that a dream state?
It could be a dream state, yes. And there's all kinds. I used to do a lot of dream study. You have lucid dreams, and I've had dreams where I'm awake in the dream. Those that I'm told that's rare, but we can have that experience when you're dreaming and you know you're dreaming. And so sometimes, again, the mind is such a fascinating, capacity. So sometimes we can't handle something right on, so the mind says, fine, I'll give it to you this way, in a dream, or I'll use this situation to awaken you to this point or whatever. So it's sort of using life itself as a lesson. So when you are in your awakening states, try to be awake. Use it to say, what's happening here? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Be present to your own life, because most of the time we're not. So it's a habit. Learning to be present, learning to ask the wonderful questions to yourself. Why did I feel that way? What's going on with me? Bringing awareness, right, to your own soul, your own life, helps to keep you awake. And then you're going to have those moments where the 2x4 must come.
Boy, I'm telling them 2x4 is tough. Okay, I'm glad you got the answer, Ali. Okay, so Louise is saying this is from a psychodynamic perspective of cognitive behavioral therapy. Is it good if it works for you? Only you can discern that. Like, is it good if the effort and stuff that you're dealing with only works for you? Is there any way that we can be a part of the supporting of others or helping of others? And I don't know what it is, Louise. Sometimes we feel like we have to know that we are a part of making somebody better. And I think that's still ego-driven. And that's still coming from some attachment. What I have recognized that really is the best form of inspiring and encouraging people to change is when people see your consistent growth as a person. When they see that you're consistently becoming a better version of yourself, it somehow opens up within them a trust quotient or some sort of a trust factor that they go, look at this one. You know what? Maybe I do need to listen. And maybe there is some room for change of some sort.
I always let my people, you know, as a minister, I never let people think that I walk on water. And so I'm always sharing, you know, my flaws or my foibles or when I was driving and had a little bit of road rage or whatever it is, because then I also show, I also am trying to process. I also am walking through it. And it's important to do that, you know.
I can't believe we blabbed on for an hour together. I was actually going to do a meditation with us, and I think this in itself was its own meditation, so we're not going to play that, but I want to thank you for coming into the next normal.
The next normal. Well, I always enjoy sharing time with you and just thoughts with you. It's always very stimulating and fun and, you know, and creative. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for gracing us with your beauty, your love, your non-judgmental energy, your goodness of spirit, your generous nature, your kindness. You're so well kept as a person, inside out. And I've just appreciated that from the first day we reconnected. And I appreciate that even now. So don't go changing. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the next normal. And if you're missing our meditation, just feel free to go to any of the meditations on meditationmuseum.org, of course. And look out for Reverend Sylvia at Unity of Washington, D.C. She does a lovely service on Sundays at 11 o'clock on her YouTube channel as well. Well, as we come to a close, and hopefully you've gotten some tools to preserve your energy. And we had a talk today as we look at moving into next year and this, you know, exploring how do we keep the meditation museums open when we move over to the possibility of reopening them in March. In order to maintain it, Reverend Sylvia and I had a really nice discussion that if we get 500 or 1,000 folks to just do a recurring donation for the year, we're not going to have to worry. The meditation museums will be available for everyone to participate in. So think about it. Go to our meditation museum website and go to our page on generosity. And again, if it's just $5 by 100 people is still going to be $500 that we didn't have to pay a bill for the museum. Yeah. So if we can get 1,000 people, we can definitely take care of one of the buildings. If we get 10,000 people, we can definitely take care of all the buildings. So just think about it. If everyone just chips in tonight, that would be so awesome to keep the meditation museums going. Yeah.
Share the wealth. There's enough of it to go around for everybody.
We'd love that. So thanks again for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed our company. I know I did enjoy Reverend Sylvia very much. And we'll see you all tomorrow, and lots of love, lots of blessings. And don't forget, I am.
Namaste.
Om Shanti. Take care.
We find our nation on a precipice, true tipping point. Is this the moment that will finally change our country? Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell the storm I'm new. I'ma rain on this bitter love. Tell the tweet I'm new.
broken system. It was built to function exactly as it is.
We must respond with bold action.
This is our country too. We can build new systems that do what they should.
I'm a walk, I'm a march on the regular.
We are united. We are standing.
Follow away.
And we are going to fight this fight.
Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. I break chains up on myself.
There is something happening across this country.
When we work and when we fight and when we march and when we speak up and when we offer solutions, we win.
I'ma keep running because a winner don't quit on themselves.
It's always the right time to celebrate women and black women in particular.
It is an opportunity to show the nation and the world that we will act. It has been an inspiration.
You have the choice, and it is that choice that gives you power.
Vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
That is what we need next. Action.
Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wise-ish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you. Hi everyone, I'm Sister Jenna. Welcome to our special Zoom meditation segments. Look, it's no joke. Things are kind of weird. It's just weird. Pandemics, protests, job insecurity, global pause. Everyone's numb, but also everyone's searching. And they might be searching on this little gadget of Zoom in a little box. People from all over the world who don't know each other are coming together in Zoom rooms to figure out who they are, why they're here, and how to meditate. Meditation is something that we've often thought that if we make our minds empty, we've meditated. I don't believe that. I think it's important that we learn how to channel our thoughts in a right way that are connected to our vision, our goal, our spiritual attainments, our mental capacity. Then you're really meditating.
This healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. My glorious, my glorious, my glorious life. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit. Thank you for my wealth. you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for this day, Spirit. I want to thank you. I want to thank you. Thank you